I remember being a little boy in the summer of 2012. I watched the best movie of all time with Channing Tatum in his most iconic performance of Magic Mike. The best movie if you are interested in the deep, diverse, and rich cultural history of male strippers in America. And ever since 2012, ever since I watched that movie, ingrained in me as a small child, I believed that one day, in my most favorite sport, my favorite hobby to consume, that we would have our own Magic Mike as champion of the UFC light heavyweight division. And here we have Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg just so happens to exist. Magic Mike is back. This is every single matchup that needs to happen after UFC 327. I did give Carlos Ulberg a bow tie, the signature male stripper bow tie. What is his next fight? I don't want to say his win was fluky. It's not a fluke, because if I say it's a fluke, people are going to be attacking me. It was a legitimate win. He won fair and square. All the fault lies on Yuri Prochazka. But it is kind of weird to win your title that way, right? So it just feels weird that he's the champion. Everybody wanted Yuri to win, myself included. It's not the same with like Joshua Van becoming champion because Pantoja got injured, whereas in this case it was reversed. Ulberg got injured and his opponent had too much honor. Did not finish the fight. It was just a massive fumble of epic proportions, and Carlos Ulberg catches Yuri with the left hook, which I made that case for Ulberg in my prediction video, the left hook. Fuck, I gotta be better with my picks. This card was the worst card that I ever did on picks, by the way. I'll own up to it. I got every single pick wrong on the main card. I got Gamrot right, but I got Pico right. But yeah, every pick on the main card was wrong. But who should Ulberg fight next? He's probably going to be out for 10 months is the soonest. Maybe even more than that. And Costa's a new stay at 205. So do Costa versus Ankalaev, and the winner of that becomes the number one contender. Costa just came out of nowhere. He likes the secret juice now. He doesn't want to be fighting at 185. That's good. He cuts way too much weight. And I think he looked really powerful at 205. He looked thick. He looked healthy. He looked fast. So, Doom versus Ankalaev. I don't know if they should do this as an interim. I don't think they have to. No. We've seen champions that are off of big layoffs. Remember, Volkanovski was off for like a year and a half before he fought Brian Ortega. So we've seen this before. He's injured, so he's got an excuse. But yeah, 205 is going to be kind of slow for the next year, sadly, unfortunately. We've got guys at the very bottom, like Yakayev and Baranevsky, that are going to be fighting up, and those guys are going to be exciting. But at the top, it's going to be very slow. And yeah, we move on to Yuri. No more Bushido code. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Japanese Yuri from here on out. I want to see Mongolian Yuri. I want to see somebody that plunders, rapes, and pillages. Somebody that shows zero mercy. I want a Mongol steppe Genghis Khan motherfucker that burns villages to the ground and kills 10% of the human population at the time of the Mongol Empire. No more honor, no more samurai shit. Get rid of that fucking samurai hat and put a fucking Mongol hat. Because that was bad, dude. He was getting with the leg kicks. Both of Ulberg's legs were getting fucked up bad. And remember, before this fight happened, Ulberg was the kickboxer. The consensus was that Ulberg was going to be the guy to fuck up Yuri's legs. But the reverse was happening. All Yuri had to do was just keep at it with the leg kicks, push Ulberg down to the ground, maybe go for grappling a little bit, and then force Ulberg to stand back up. And as he's putting weight on that leg, it would have just been so painful, and just keep at it with those leg kicks and just win the fight that way. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if people would complain that's the way Yuri won. Shit happens. Oh well. Who is he going to fight next, though? Because that is a massive aura loss. Remember, he lost to Pereira in the first fight, and then he came back and fought Rakic. He lost to Pereira the second time. He comes back and beats Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree. I'm thinking somebody else who's rising up on a 3-fight win streak, who is also ranked now. He is a kickboxer. It is Dustin Jacoby. Yuri doesn't do good against kickboxers now. He doesn't. And Jacoby is the third big kickboxer that Yuri would have to face. I think Jacoby's like rank 14. He'll be rank 13 tomorrow, or today when this video gets uploaded, because it's Tuesday. He'll be like rank 13, good 3-fight win streak, and it's a good win streak where he's beating these guys and knocking them out in like the first round, you know? Okay, not Petrino, that was like the third round. But Bruno Lopez, Julius Walker, 3-fight win streak. I'm thinking, just move Jacoby up. Give him like a big fight, somebody in the top 5, and that's Yuri. That's Yuri, because there's not really a lot of exciting contenders right now. You know, Volkan Oezdemir, Bogdan Guskov, those are like the 2 contenders, and I don't want to call Oezdemir a contender. He's been there for a long time. So you got to get in new blood. I know Jacoby's old. He's not exactly new blood, but he's new blood to the ranked conversation. He's always been unranked for the longest time, and now he's on a good win streak. So do Yuri versus Jacoby. That's the fight to make, in my opinion. I don't want to see... Because, I mean, look, Yuri, he's faced a lot of guys that are ranked. He faced Oezdemir. He faced Reyes. He faced Roundtree, Hill, Rakic. So that's like 5 guys that are already ranked. And he's lost to Pereira. He's lost now to Ulberg. They're never going to do Ulberg versus Yuri ever again. They're never going to have that rematch. So you got to do Jacoby. It makes sense. And then obviously Paulo Costa versus Ankalaev. Paulo Costa, I've noticed, like, his arms are massive. His biceps are very big. But then you look, it makes sense because his reach is very small. He's got little T-Rex arms. And I never really thought about that. I was like, dude, Paulo Costa, he's this fucking monster at 205. I remember when he fought Izzy. Oh my God, he was in great shape when he fought Izzy, and then he gets raped in the ass. But no, it's just because his arms are really short. So it'll be another kick fight with Ankalaev. Ankalaev has good kicks too, though. You know, he head kicked that one. It was an African guy, but I can't remember his name. Or maybe it was like a black British guy. It was like a front kick, and then he finished him with a 2. So Ankalaev's got good kicks, good stylistic matchup. If this fight happens, though, for number 1 contenders, next title shot fight, I hope it's a 5-rounder. Main event for like a fight night, you know? I don't want to see another 3-round fight, because that's what happened with Ankalaev and Rakic. It was 3 rounds, nothing really happened. And then Ankalaev gets the next title shot. But to be fair, Ankalaev had beaten so many people at that point. So, a 5-rounder for Paulo Costa. We'll see what happens. And then the incredible Hulk, Josh Hokit. I doubted Hokit. He's got speed. He's got somewhat of a decent chin. 6'1", 230 pounds. Beats up Curtis Blades in the best fight at heavyweight in a very, very long time. Possibly ever. I did like Stipe versus DC too, stylistically, but that fight didn't have the type of violence that this one did. He's obviously fighting Derek Lewis next. I was going to put Derek Lewis as like a next fight that Hokit should have had before this was even announced. I was thinking, like, you know, ahead of time, if Hokit beats Blades, he's going to be trapped in the top 5 with all these big, scary guys that are much more skilled than a guy like Curtis Blades. So I don't know if they're just going to waste Hokit and put him up against a brick wall like Pavlovich or like Volkov. Who, imagine Hokit versus Volkov. 6'8 versus 6'1. I know height isn't everything, but at heavyweight, dude, Volkov's a sniper. And he just doesn't lose to small guys like Hokit. He picks guys like Hokit apart, like Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who's like the same height as Hokit. So I was thinking they would have to do him versus Blades. And then Dana White announces it for the White House card. I think this is a winnable fight for Hokit. Just using his wrestling. Dude, Lewis is just fucking... He's not the same guy anymore. Twists his ankle and then falls down. Gets the shit beat out of him by Waldo. You know, remember there's that one Louisiana guy that looks like Dustin Poirier that fought at heavyweight, and he did a hook kick against Derek Lewis a long time ago. I could see some bullshit like that happening, where like Curtis or Hokit just hook kicks or does some crazy shit, and then Derek Lewis just falls down, curls into a ball, gives up, and you just see like these pity pad punches that Hokit is unleashing on the side of Derek's head, and then maybe he gets ragdolled on the ground. You know, some shit like that. Like he loses back control, and Hokit's on his back and maybe gets like a rear naked choke or something, you know. We saw it with DC ragdolling him, Spivak ragdolling him, Almeida ragdolling him for 5 rounds, although Almeida fucking sucks and has no finishing potential. I could see Hokit, even though he doesn't weigh as much, he could still like be a backpack on Derek Lewis. Because he was bullying Denzel Freeman with the grappling, and Denzel's a Greco-Roman guy. And Denzel, I thought, he maxed out at 265 as well, I think, or like 250. He was a big dude. So Hokit's got some good grappling. He's a freestyle wrestler. Wrestled Bo Nickel back in the day. So, yeah, I think it's a winnable fight for Hokit. But when he beats Derek Lewis, he will truly be trapped. Because I'm not seeing many more winnable fights for him in the top 5. I don't. Can you imagine him versus Aspinall? No, you can't. You can't imagine him. Him versus Pereira, honestly, I give Hokit a better shot of beating Pereira than him beating Aspinall or a guy like Pavlovich. Just because Pereira so far hasn't faced a grappler. He hasn't faced a wrestler, and Hokit is. Hokit is like the first true wrestler that Pereira would have faced at this point in his UFC career. You know, so just because of that, I give Hokit a shot. Maybe he could time a beautiful double leg takedown against Pereira and just lay on top of him. You know, that's a possibility. People aren't really thinking about that. So we'll see what he does against Derek Lewis, but I think he opened up as a minus 400. We move on, though. Big Mirzakhanov. I was saying in my prediction video, the worst case scenario is if Yuri and Merz both lose. And they both lost. Fuck. Back to the abyss, Mirzakhanov. Back to the bottom trash heap of the division. Nah, but like, what is he going to do now? He's going to be turning 37 in a few months, right? And he's not going to get a title shot probably ever. He would have to win like the next 3 fights. And I think he broke his arm against Paulo Costa's leg kicks. So just do him up against another like injured one-leg fighter bum, Jamal Hill. I was looking at the rankings. I mean, there's really not much for Mirzakhanov at this point. They can do him up against Roundtree, but I don't think Roundtree would be interested in that one. Stylistically, it would be good, but just do him up against Jamal Hill. They haven't cut Jamal Hill from the UFC. He's still in. 2-fight losing streak. Completely humbled. So, yeah. Azamat Mirzakhanov versus Jamal Hill. What else is there to say? Nothing. We move on to Mateusz Gamrot. Vintage Gamrot. Good veteran type of performance. I did pick Gamrot. I'm glad of that pick. Veteran beats the up-and-coming guy that is untested with his grappling. Esteban Ribovic has not proven himself that he's got good takedown defense, that he has good anti-grappling tendencies. And so that's why it was an easy pick. And I think this is a pick'em fight too, which is crazy. But yeah, Gamrot gets the round 2 arm triangle submission. Great win. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Paddy Pimblett, man. That's the one to make. Grappler versus grappler. Both guys are pillow-fisted. Both guys don't have any power. We will see who is the better grappler. And what are they going to do for Paddy Pimblett? There's not really a lot of good matchups for Paddy either. They're not going to do him up against BSD. They're not going to do him up against Sarukian. No, he just lost his title shot against Justin Gaethje. Against a terrible version of Justin Gaethje. So Paddy Pimblett has a lot to prove still in his career. He went the safe Dana White privilege route to get a title shot, and now he is in the deep end of the pool with these sharks at 155. Do him up against Gamrot. It's a winnable fight for Paddy, and yes, they can do it in London for a 5-round main event type of fight. Like they did with Evloev versus Murphy. Do another one this year. Pimblett versus Gamrot, that's the one to make. And then the last guy, we got Luque. 185, Luque looks good. He looks powerful. In hindsight, I should have picked him because he's got unpredictable round 1 submissions, like he did against Themba Gorimbo, and now against Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin Gastelum also suffered unpredictable submissions from a guy like Sean Brady, you know? That's the guy to beat. That's the way to beat Gastelum. You have to make him tap out because you can't knock him out. So, stupid way to pick Kelvin Gastelum. Vicente Luque, I'm thinking, you know what? Stop wasting Vicente Luque with guys that are unranked. Just do it, bro. Just do it. Stylistically, it makes sense. 2 good grapplers. You got a submission artist in Luque up against a guy who lost a lot of stock losing to Strickland because he doesn't have a 6-pack to defend against knees to the body. You know, it's like RDR versus Bo Nickel, but Sean Strickland did that to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Vicente Luque versus Fluffy Hernandez at 185. Book it. Those are the fights to make. I could have added more fights, but I ran out of room. Aaron Pico, featherweight is super stacked, and you know Aaron Pico had a good type of masterclass performance against Pitbull. They could do Pico versus Sterling. Fuck it. I know they're doing Sterling versus Alal, but if Sterling loses that one, I know Sterling likes to be active. It's just that the UFC doesn't like to give him fights, so they can do him versus Pico, and that'll be a good stylistic one too. So that's all I got for this video. Like if you agree with these matchups. Subscribe to the channel, motherfuckers. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.